There are healers on this planet with the power to soften the suffering of mankind, yet they have remained in the recesses of the world, abused, discarded, and labeled as trash. This is The Touch of a Mustang. I am your host, Shalise Clough, and I'm here to tell the story of wild horses, Mustangs, and the humans who are discovering and sharing their gifts while working to protect their well-being and preserve their spirit, so this divine power won't be lost. Join us on this quest with the wild Mustang. Stargazer and Nora, a bonded pair of Onaqui Mountain wild Mustangs, embody the untamed spirit of freedom and resilience in the American West. Their journey transitioning from the wild to domestic life sheds light on the challenges faced by wild horses and underscores the transformative impact of compassionate stewardship. Their story not only inspires hope and raises awareness about the issues surrounding wild horses, but also illustrates the potential for companionship and partnership in the domestic world. Stargazer and Nora's wild love story was captivating from the start. They have been well documented since birth, with admirers watching Stargazer grow into a striking stallion and witnessing how he came across Nora, his first and only mare. However, their journey took an unexpected turn when they were rounded up by helicopter and separated in the chaos. Following months in a holding facility, they became available for adoption. Against all odds, Stargazer and Nora were adopted together, joyously reuniting at their forever home. Fall in love with Stargazer and Nora, and consequently with all wild horses, as they embody the strength and beauty inherent in America's Mustangs. Melissa, thank you for being here at the podcast. We kind of have a little bit of a different episode today because we are going to be talking a lot about your horses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So tell us a little bit where your journey with horses began. Sure. And how that ended up with you having two famous Mustangs.
Yeah, so Stargazer and Nora, they are way more important than me, so we'll talk about them versus me. But I've had horses my whole life. I've been around horses. I've always rooted for the underdog. In fact, one of my first horses, he was this little POA Mustang, and he had papers. And I remember looking back and through his lineage, and he had a Mustang that was in his lineage, and his name was Dragon. And there's a book written about this little pony, or this little Mustang Dragon, that kind of helped the POA line. And so I didn't even really realize that until I started this journey with Mustangs and thought, oh my gosh, I've been a part of, like, Mustangs have been...
They've been there the whole time, huh?
Yeah, and I had no idea. So I took a pretty long break from having horses. As an adult, I found another little pony that looked very similar to my POA pony growing up, and his name was Reuben. And Ruben's like this little red-eared weirdo, and I just adore everything about him. He's so cute, but he has Lyme disease, and so you can't really ride him, and he's had a lot of owners. And so I started taking pictures of him because I loved horses. I like barn work, I like being around the barn. And so I started taking...
These are just horses in general?
Yeah, just horses in general. So I just was, taking pictures, and, my husband got me a camera, and I thought...
Nice.
And he said, you know what, you should take a class, if I get you this camera. So I did, and one of the assignments was, what inspires you? What images are really speaking to you? And I came across images of wild horses. And I thought, this was some of the most amazing photography I've ever seen. And so my husband said, well, go take pictures of wild horses. And I said, I don't even know where to do that. I'm on the East Coast. The only wild horses I know are on the Outer Banks, which are adorable, by the way. And so I took a trip out west on a photography workshop, and she's a dear friend of mine now, but I went out there and knew nothing about wild horses. And I will never forget being in Utah. I was at the Onaqui Range, and the morning light had just came over, and you could see for miles, and then all you saw were these clouds of dust coming. And you heard the sound of thundering hooves. And then suddenly these horses just appeared out of nowhere, and they were all coming in to drink for water. And
wow.
It was like the most magical thing I've ever seen in my life. And at the very tail end of all of the horses that came in for water was this amazing pinto. And I just fell in love with him and thought, this is the most gorgeous horse I've ever seen in my life. And he was with Old Man, which is a pretty famous wild horse that was in the Onaqui Range. And he's at least 20 years old. And I actually took this picture. Well, it's over at my left-hand side that's up in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
But that's Stargazer. And so the
Oh, how
first
neat.
horse I ever took a picture of in the
And that
wild.
was a picture from that trip?
Yeah, it was back in 2018. So I fell in love
Wow.
with Stargazer, and I fell in love with wild horses, and I just had never seen it. It was just absolutely the most life-changing thing I've ever seen, to have wild horses that are in our backyard and just so untouched. So I started learning a little bit more, and as I was learning more and falling in love, a roundup in the Onaqui herd happened in 2019. They took some of the herd, not they didn't really target the main herd, and I started learning more about Mustangs and the world that they're in, and like kind of
Mm-hmm.
what happens. And fast forward quite a bit, and it came up to 2021, and the Onaqui herd was slated to be rounded up again, and Stargazer and Nora were rounded up. And there's a lot more in there, but to be short about it, they were rounded up, and I didn't want them to be separated. They
Mm.
just were. I wanted them to stay together, and so my husband and I looked to adopt them both together, and it was quite a journey. But that's how we came to have Stargazer and Nora.
Neat. And so you'd also seen Nora out on the range?
So I actually never saw Nora on the range.
Okay.
I probably have images of her from like the all the times that I've been out there, because went out a few times a year to take pictures. But Nora, she's so clever. I don't know. I mean, she just changed so much. There's images of her. She was kind of reddish brown. Then she was very dark black, and then she started getting
Oh, wow.
spots. And then
Mm-hmm.
she's a gray mare, and so she'll
Yeah.
be white. She looks different every day. So I probably have images, but never seen them together. So I wish I would have seen them, but when I had met Stargazer, he was with Old Man and Buck. They were like in their bachelor phase.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Stargazer was he's been photographed since birth out there, and he was given names, but he was given a name by some of the folks that had been out on the range and been knew and loved the herd from years and years back. But
Mm-hmm.
he was part of what they call them the Pinto brothers, and him and his brother Moondrinker were the two. Everybody knew these Pinto brothers, and they were a band together for quite some time and kind of built this little family. And
Mm-hmm.
Moondrinker's the older brother. Eventually kicked Stargazer out, and he
Yeah.
was on his own. And so he was like this bachelor guy, and for a while, and was hanging as like a young stallion. He was hanging out with Old Man, who's so he's like the legendary soul out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's funny because there's people that have called Stargazer paint in the ass, because he would just stand at the watering hole and pick fights. Like he was just like,
Oh, really?
yeah, he was a
He's
kind of,
trying to figure out his place in the world,
yeah,
it sounds
he
like.
he was just really lost out there. And it's so funny because I saw him fight quite a bit, and I saw him out there, and just act, how it's hard for me to reconcile him in the wild now versus how he is at
Yeah,
home.
I bet.
But yeah, eventually he came across Nora. Nora had been injured on the range. From what I
Mm.
understand, this is what was told to me. She
Mm-hmm.
had been injured on the range, and she has a pretty big a pretty severe injury to her hip that you can see something happened. I mean, it's
Mm.
pretty
Yeah.
scarred. But she was left behind, and he came across her and found her and never left her side for
Aw.
like over a year. And so they were like the cutest little couple in the range, like just the two of them. It's funny because everybody paid so much attention to Stargazer because he was just everyone knew him, and
Yeah.
Nora didn't have a name. She was just like the black horse that was with
The
Stargazer.
color changing horse out there.
Yeah, and she had this like her mane is just incredible. Like it's so thick and it's wind knotted.
Mm.
She was really cool to watch, but I would say that no one really. I'll speak for myself. I didn't really pay attention too much to her at first. Like she wasn't so striking to me, I guess.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of her from coming from the wild, and then now she's like the most stunning mare. And I thought, how did I overlook this girl? She is like so amazingly beautiful, but you just didn't see it underneath some of those wind knots. But
Yeah.
they were together, and they never were apart. It was just them as a little band. And when the roundup happened, the helicopters came, and it was kind of a massive amount of chaos, and Stargazer and Nora were separated in the roundup. And there's images. It's, it's on video, it's in a movie, it's in, there's a lot of images of it, but Stargazer and Nora were separated, and there's actually like this image you can see, like where he's looking for her, like there's this giant cloud of dust, and he's looking back, and she's nowhere to be seen, and so she got rounded up a day before he did, and he came back the next day, at that trap site, and was rounded up the next day, and I don't know why he came back the following day. I mean, he escaped the first day. I shouldn't
But
say.
Nora was already there.
Yeah, Nora was already
Which is
there. So
probably why he came back, I would guess.
I mean, I don't know. And so I know they're bonded, right? Like, and so after you know, he came back, there's this image of him, and it like, I'll cry just even thinking about it. But, the whole herd, I should say the whole group of horses, there was kind of a mixed bag at this point, but the whole group of horses, like going into the trap site, and Stargazer is so far behind all of them that second day, like when he did finally get rounded up, he's just like trailing. And from, my friends that had seen it said that it was like he just didn't know, like he just was following. I don't know, he like had every opportunity to leave, and he went. And it just broke my heart, because he just embodied like everything that was wild, and like just such a important part of my life. Like because I changed my career, actually. Like I was in the financial world, and after I started learning more about wild horses, I helped start a nonprofit, the Onaqui Catalog Foundation, that focuses on the horses in Onaqui, and then worked for the leading nonprofit for wild horses. And it was just like devastatingly crushing, and I had to do everything I could to adopt them. I had no intentions of adopting, actually. So I never had a Mustang. So yeah, then they got rounded up, and they went to the holding facility, and there was no public access at the holding facility for a few weeks. And, the stallions are separated from the mares, and, we had, friends and people had gone into the holding facility to go document the horses, check in on them. And it was just really this beautiful community effort of people who love the Onaqui horses, all rallied together at that time to just try to get good placement for homes, try to keep advocates or people with good homes from bidding against each other. Because they were famous, they were going to have an online auction for these horses to, I can speculate why, but to ensure that the national public had access to these horses.
And were most of the ones rounded up, were they all pretty well documented?
Yeah, that entire herd is documented by the Onaqui Catalog Foundation, and so it's an information resource. It's public. It's we want to take all this information. We want to give it to you. The information that comes in is by volunteers or people on the range that submit photos. So we want no ownership or authority on the horses whatsoever. We literally just want to give good fact-based information to people who want to be involved. And so we had known all the the horses that were out there, and we wanted to make sure they got good homes, and just to help if adopters like wanted to understand their background or just whatever. So they were in holding for about 6 months. It was a little bit longer than it should have been. The internet auction site for the Bureau of Land Management crashed or broke down or something.
That seems to happen a lot.
Yeah, it sure does. And so it got extended. They were in there longer than they should have been, and they were there from winter. And by the time that I went, when the auction rolled around, I was just really fortunate that I had done a lot of research. I had about how online auctions work, just how it's not as straightforward as you think. Like, winning bidders don't actually have to take the horses. You can bid up horse price. I mean, it just seemed a little sketchy. So I did a lot of research to figure out, I wanted to make sure I was the winning adopter. And I was really, really very fortunate that I didn't get into bidding wars or anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Stargazer's tall. He's like over 15 hands. He's a pinto. He's flashy. He's a named horse.
Yeah.
So I was really concerned that he would go for a much higher price. But, that community rallied together, and, everyone wanted to make sure he found a good home. And so when they kind of realized that, hey, like there was a good home that he was going to go to, that they, other people that cared about him specifically weren't bidding on top of each other. And I think people that didn't know him and just saw a tall horse, they were like, oh, I just, And I didn't end up. It wasn't crazy. Like I didn't pay a crazy amount of money. Like
Yeah,
I was really
that
fortunate.
is really nice. Those can get really high sometimes for,
Yeah,
an untouched horse.
I was able to adopt them both. I mean, Nora, I probably I had more of a bidding war, I guess, at the last minute with her.
Oh, yeah.
No one had didn't bid on her at all, and then at the last hour, someone was like, "Oh, okay, I'll take the
Oh,
little golden
man.
bear." So, but I was like, "Nope, we're keeping them
Probably
together."
pretty stressful, huh? Because
Yeah,
such a tricky process.
it was a week. It was a week long auction, and so it was just
Yeah.
it was a lot. But then they're adopted. Excuse me. Then you're the winning bidder, but then you have to go get them, right? And then you don't actually take ownership until you go there. So it was a dish. I think it was like another month. I
Yeah.
remember correctly, or at least 3 weeks, because it was right around the holidays. And when I went to pick up Stargazer and Nora, I will say, like, they were kind enough to put Stargazer and Nora together in the pen the night before.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
that was really nice. So I did appreciate that. But when I went there, the horses were in too small of a space. It wasn't designed to be the setup that it was. Mud was really deep.
Hmm.
And there was a gentleman sorting the horses on horseback there, and they're really small pens. It's not open like some of the other facilities,
Hmm.
and I watched a horse get cornered and stuck in the mud trying to run from the guy on horseback, and he broke his leg right in front of us as we went to pick
Oh,
him up.
man.
It was terrible. So
Oh,
that like really dampened it, but obviously because they had to put him down, and they did.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
that is
just was
sad.
so grateful to have both Stargazer and Nora. Like when they stepped on that trailer together, and it was on, I have it documented, but they got pushed through the panels and the whole system, and they got right to the trailer, and Stargazer backed up, and Nora, my little cool mare, man, she's so cool. She held fast, and she got him on. So
Yeah, how neat.
yeah, so like they took their steps together, and then we got them out of there. And when they finally arrived, it was in the middle of the night, but they had stepped off together. We opened the trailer door, and they didn't jump off right away. It took them a little while to come off. They were like, I don't know,
Yeah.
and then they did.
Yeah.
So they've
Lots of
done
new stuff.
everything together, and that's just crazy journey they've been on.
Yeah, no, that's so neat that they've been able to come back together, and also that you were able to see Stargazer at least in the wild. Most of my Mustangs came from areas that are very remote, so I haven't been able to find pictures of any of them except maybe one. So that's cool that you've been able to kind of see that process from when they were wild to now, living with you. And
Yeah,
so what has that transition been like? Because now you have these two formerly wild Mustangs at your house.
yeah. Well, I would say that I like fangirled a little bit. Like I was like, I mean, I had just watched him specifically from afar,
Yeah.
and I was really weirded out at first about getting near him. Like I was like, it's like a celebrity to me. So
Yeah, it probably was a really unique experience
it
to
it,
see that change of environment.
it was, and so I worked with Sam Van Fleet in the beginning to help gentle them. I
Mm-hmm.
suspected Nora was pregnant
Mm-hmm.
because her belly just kept getting bigger while she was in holding. And so I thought, ooh, she might be pregnant. And I don't know. I mean, I've been around horses my whole life, but I know enough to know I need to do this right. And I wanted her to go somewhere that we could take, because three horses, like, all at once. And so if she had a baby, but we took her to Sam Van Fleet. She started the gentling process right away, and she worked with me with them as well. So that was really helpful.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, that's so great.
yeah, and it was completely worth it. I'm so glad that I did it. I mean, I love her dearly. I stand really strongly alongside of her with like how she approaches the horses, because both of them needed something different.
Yeah.
But Nora, she ended up having a stillborn foal
Oh,
about not long after we just got her home. She had been told to me that she had been showing, like in holding, she had some discharge and things like that, and like she had been injured a few times. There's some pretty ugly videos of her from holding, and I was concerned, so I wanted to get her examined as fast as I could to kind of make sure she
Yeah.
was okay, because there was something like wrong. But we did not have enough time, and in the place where she was at, it's a foaling barn, and they're very familiar with like breeding and like babies, like this is like second nature to them. And they were like, this baby was never ever going to make it. Like it was just
Oh, really? It just hadn't developed correctly.
no, it was in a infected state for a while, and so it just wasn't going to develop. So called him Little Dipper. I kind of always joke. Well, Nora's name is North Star because Stargazer's family, all of the horses that came out of his mother have a celestial sort of theme, and so
Oh, yeah. Neat.
we were trying to think of a name for Nora, and so North Star came up because she was like his little guiding light, and that's how we call her Nora for short.
Yeah, I love that.
So we joked that she had Little Dipper in her. So the poor little guy didn't make it. So Nora was set back quite a bit actually, because with the hormone changes and just the life change and everything that had occurred.
Yeah, a lot at once.
She really wasn't interested in being caught. Like she didn't want to talk. She just wanted her space. And Stargazer was like, "Oh, food? Like you want to if you let me touch, if I can."
I'll do anything.
Yeah, like, okay. He was pretty good. I would say
Yeah.
they were complete opposites on everything. Stargazer only liked this side. She liked the opposite side. She liked if you approached it from, like, if you backed up. He liked if you walked this way. Like, they couldn't have been more opposite on pretty much everything. But they did great. And I would say that, Sam did a lot of the first leading, like just she was very gentle about everything. She didn't push them. She listened to them. She helped me learn how to acknowledge and see all of their, just even like a nostril flare or an eye blink, like that meant something. And so I started paying attention to that, and my husband did too. So we were all in. I mean, we had been around horses, but like this was just like so different.
Yeah.
I wanted a partner. I wanted them to do what they needed to do and at the pace that they wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And so
which I love. That's such a benefit, I think, especially working with Mustangs, if we can kind of step back and say, all right, let's do this together instead of here's my agenda, let's get it done, and which doesn't always work.
It doesn't. And I would say I was really intimidated by Stargazer. I mean, I was a little starstruck for sure, but I had seen him in the wild, like fighting horses. Like I have images of him like bleeding, like and just looking like a savage. And I was
probably
like,
in the back of your mind when you're approaching him, like you're a very strong animal.
Yeah. So I was like, I want you to be like I want to be on the same page from day one, because I was a little intimidated, and I got over that because pretty quickly. I mean, he is the cutest, and I mean the cutest little showman. Like he's like, I will do anything for you if you. I'll show off. I swear, I laugh and say all the photographers they ruined him. He's like he knows where the camera is. I swear he poses. He loves the attention.
He's meant to be a celebrity.
He is. He loves it. There's nothing that makes him happier than showing off his tricks. Like, when family come over, or I've friends come over, I really like to, my friends and stuff, like I show them off, and he's like the first in line. He's like, I would love to show you my tricks, and I'd love for you to tell me how amazing I am, and please tell me how great I am. And he loves it. And then Nora's always she's so observant, and she's watching and waiting, and then she'll sneak in, and then she just like wins you over immediately. But because she's extremely sweet, but she has her people she likes, and if you come near her with like crazy energy, she's like, no thanks.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I'm not interested.
That's so interesting, their different personalities and kind of thinking how they mesh in a way.
Yeah, to be fair, she's the only one in the herd, my little herd, that has hormones, so she gets to be herself, where Stargazer, I joke and say he's 10 going on 20. And Reuben, my little domestic pony, is 20 going on 10 now, because he's obsessed with them. He just thinks they're the coolest horses. It was really hard to integrate them all in together. I never really realized how much I think we take for granted just in the wild, the behavior between the horses and how they communicate, and little ear flicks and a tail swish. Like that means so much. So when I brought Ruben to meet Stargazer, he was like, okay, there's this little weird redheaded like pony, like, okay, I don't know what his deal is, but he seems obsessed with me. Okay. But
He was probably fine with that.
well, you would think he was
No?
not. No.
Yeah.
So he was kind of okay through the fence, but Ruben, poor guy, he like went running over to him, like, "Oh my gosh, you're so
A friend.
yeah." And Stargazer was like, "Oh my gosh, who are you? What are you doing? You speak a whole different language than me. I don't understand what you're trying to say. Please back off." And Ruben like just does not like know how to read a room, and freaked him out quite a bit. And so like I think he was just really like I don't understand him at all. But now they're like BFF. They are so cute. They like hang out together. Ruben follows him around everywhere. He just thinks he's the coolest thing. I would say Stargazer's like very, very, very independent. You can take Nora away. You can take anyone away. He's not herd bound. He doesn't care. He's fine by himself. Like I've never met a horse that was like so okay if he was just by himself. Like Ruben, if I even go in his Stargazer stall, he's like, "Oh, please don't take him from me." And he has very bad separation anxiety. But Nora, she's always trying to get the boys to go. She's pushing. I mean, she takes her lead mare role pretty seriously, and she's like, "Come on, boys, it's time to drink. It's time to eat. It's time to move. Got to get up. Let's keep going." So she keeps them pretty active because otherwise, I think they both just stand around and just eat all day. I don't think they do anything. And Nora makes them get going, and they're pretty funny to watch.
Yeah, that is fun to see the different dynamics between their new little family.
Yeah. And just the other day, Nora was all excited. She went out into the pasture and she was like getting them all riled up and she wanted to play. And Ruben has no idea what she's trying to communicate. He's like, I don't know what it is, but okay. So
That's interesting.
Yeah, so she runs at him and she's rearing up and like trying to play because she's 6. And Ruben is like, I don't know what this lady is trying to tell me. I don't know what's happening. So he kind of backs up and he doesn't want anything to do with her. She runs over to Stargazer to play. He's like, no, I'm not interested. This isn't, sorry, girlfriend. I'm not interested. Like, and she like just checks him. She knocks him over. Stargazer, I felt so bad. His poor little bruised ego. He got knocked over by Nora. And he got up and then he starts chasing her and playing. So they do have fun. She definitely has to push them a little bit to have fun because like I said, the boys are very happy to sit around and eat all day.
Yeah. And so what are some of the principles that you used as you guys gentled them?
So listening. I mean, I always thought that I listened and I thought I was a good listener, but I was not a good listener. Even with Ruben, I don't think I appreciated just the nuance of, like I said, like an ear flick or just a nostril flare. And so I really used a lot of R positive. We did use some pressure and release for some things, and I tried to mix it up where I thought it would for them. Nora, we did a lot more pressure and release with Nora, but just like not like just more movement based, but for haltering and things like that, we started doing a lot of like R positive with that because she was not interested. So what I liked about Sam was she adapted to both of them and didn't do anything that they were not interested in doing. She didn't force them to do anything they didn't want to do. She listened and then taught me how to listen to them as well, and just making small, like a lot of using your energy. And Stargazer, like with getting him some exercise or lunging him or something like that. And I don't lunge to lunge. I mean, I'm just teaching them to send and things like that. But moving from like upward transition to downward transition, he'll do it with inhale and an exhale. So like that's how close he's paying attention. And so I really try to listen to what they're saying. I did find that it was a real growth opportunity for me because, again, like I thought I listened, but I also over communicate. I say 6 things when I say 6 things, I mean breathed, I moved my energy, moved my body, gave my energy, and had a verbal command. Like I didn't need all that. I just needed to like raise my hand or
Oh yeah.
yeah. So it's been a real journey for me to just watch how I interact and gain
Yeah.
confidence. So it's been fun. It's an up and down roller coaster. Sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm failing them.
Yeah.
Um, but then
Sounds typical to my journey at least. I was like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, this is great today. Wait.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
well, and yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. Like it's
yeah, for sure.
I was never, even as a kid, like I just never like agreed with like forcing horses to do anything. I might not have
Yeah.
known how to overcome that, but I knew what was happening was not. I'll never. He was a bad trailer. Like he just would not get on a trailer. I was at
Hmm.
like 13, 14 years old, and I don't even know why, or I couldn't identify it, but I just remember like our like 4-H leader, she was whipping him to get on that trailer, and I was a 13-year-old girl, and I was
Mm.
like, no, you're not touching my horse. Like I don't know what you're doing, but this is not okay. And
Yeah.
I she let this woman left me at a without my parents at this horse show because I wouldn't let her get my horse on her trailer in such fashion.
Mm.
But so
Yeah.
like this like strong advocacy for listening was
Yeah.
always with me. And I will say that later on that day, he got on a trailer and walked on with no problems with a calm, cool adult that was like, "Hey man, we're just gonna take it easy and just walk you on this trailer," and that horse was fine.
Yeah.
So my point is, it's been a real journey for me to evolve because
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that I had been given a lot of good tools on gentling, like how to train horses.
Yeah.
And so I think I found as a younger rider, I think they called me quite a bit like a pushover. They're like, "We just let them get away with everything." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, but I don't know how to get them to do it. But I know what you're telling me to do it is not the right way. So
Yeah.
I'd rather,
Yeah. You didn't find the point where you could feel good about it and
yeah,
meet that goal or whatever at that point in your life.
yeah." So I just, I don't know. So then, having Stargazer and Nora was like super important for me to have partners on my journey that were aligned with my values and saw them as
Yeah.
an animal that was trying to communicate back to me just as much as I was trying to communicate it to it, and that
Yeah.
they can have bad days and they cannot want to do it. I'm okay with that, and we've got to figure out a way to work. And I will say that I am so pleased with the choices that I've made because I have two, I believe, extremely happy Mustangs that will do anything for me, and I listen to them, and they are fun. And you know, Stargazer is, I would say, my husband, he loves animals, but like he always say, oh, my wife has horses, but
Yeah.
now he's like, oh, this is my Mustang, meet him.
Oh.
He's like,
Nice. He's embraced it. How'd you do that? I need to do that to my husband.
it's Stargazer. He won him over. He's like,
Yeah.
they like mutually groom me. Like, he'll scratch him. He starts grooming my husband, and he just thinks
Yeah.
he's so cool. And it's because we're just listening and we're learning. And then,
Yeah.
Nora, I'm just blown away. Every day, I fall more in love with that girl. Like, she is just so cool. She tries. She listens. She wants to please. She can be sassy when she wants. I definitely was in the camp back in the day that like, oh, mares are, can be hard, and, I never want a
Yeah.
mare, and I was wrong. Like, I would,
Yeah.
I love her. She is so cool, and yeah, it takes you. She doesn't just give you everything because you showed up that day. You've got to
Yeah.
put a little work in with her, and she will give you everything if you like listen to her, and there's a mutual understanding. And
Yeah.
the things that she's doing, and she loves to jump. She takes any obstacle that you come across, and she will take it on with like vigor. She's like, "Yep, I
Oh,
will."
fun.
She loves the pedestal. She thinks it's so fun. She just stands on it. She's like, "Hello, everybody." She's under saddle. We're working together on like trails, and I'd love to
Yeah.
take her to some schooling shows, and I just want to do whatever she's interested in doing. But she is just like everything that you throw at her, she wants to learn more. And
Yeah.
and she's so curious about it. And so I'm amazed by her pretty regularly.
Yeah, and I love that message. There really is a bad rap on poor mares, like so much.
Yeah.
I see so memes that are just so mean towards them. But man, if I'm picking a horse, it's definitely my mare, my gelding. I'm like, you're great. My mare is definitely my go-to. I love her. She takes care of people, and yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah,
So everybody, get a mare.
that's it.
Geldings are great too, but don't be scared of mares.
Don't be. I mean, yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Well, it's interesting to me. My mare is such a better communicator than my gelding, I think. Like, it is very clear to understand what she's trying to tell me or what she wants. She's a very clear communicator. The gelding, he's more subdued. He's the horse that most people would pick because you can kind of push him around. You can make him do stuff, and he'll just kind of go along with it. But yeah, he does not communicate as well as my mare, where I'm like, I know exactly what I'm getting, exactly how you're feeling. I love it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I am definitely Team Mare. I joined Team Mare for sure.
There's a rescue I follow on Instagram, and they just did a post about how most of their rescues are mares because nobody wants mare. Everybody wants the gelding, and I think it's so sad because they're really neat. And yeah, I think they're a little bit different, but I love that difference personally.
I think she is so much easier to teach things to. She's so much easier to just, everything is just different. I don't know. I could never pick between them, and all three of them. I
Yeah.
could never pick. Like, all of them are my favorites. I tell them that all the time. I'm like, don't tell them that you're my
Yeah.
favorite,
Right.
but they truly are. But I would absolutely encourage someone to get a mare.
And I love what you said earlier too. Well, and just the example you gave with your pony, that didn't want to go in the trailer at all, and then someone else just walked him up. And I'm like, that's such a cool lesson to draw from because horses are, and just your whole training experience, horses are so willing
Mm-hmm.
if they can do it in a way that they're comfortable and that they can feel safe. And I think we get so caught up in like, this has to be done. It has to be done now. And so we push it and turn it into this fight. And just like you were saying with Stargazer, that's how I felt with my mare. Like, I don't want to get in a fight with you because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to lose it if we're approaching this and who's stronger, who's going to make who do what, and I don't think all horses are like that. Like my gelding, you could just take him and tell him what to do, and he'd be like, I don't really want to do it, but whatever, I'll just follow you along.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I don't think it doesn't need to be that fight or that dominance. They're so willing if they can do it in a way that is not scary and uncomfortable to them.
I agree with you. One of the things I work with Nora is, it was just yesterday she did this. She's so forward moving. She always like follows you and she'll do whatever she wants. But for whatever reason, after you're done riding and you're going to tack her back up, the thing she hates the most is standing. She just doesn't like to stand. She wants to go. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. So it's something we work on. So after we're done riding, she's like, she loves it. She's like, oh good, we got to do all this fun stuff. She's like, oh, I don't want to stand here while you untack me. I just want to like walk around. And she doesn't really go anywhere, but I'm like, no, you have to like actually stand here. Just like, let's work on this. And she will not like sometimes walk up, and I'm like, come on, Nora, like, and if I'm walking her with the reins, she will not walk forward. But then if I turn around, so like I can't force her to do anything, and nor do I want to force her, right? Yeah. But if I turn around and I do one of her, do it through our positive, and I, come here, Nora, and and she's like, oh yeah, done, and she comes immediately, like she's like, oh yeah, like because I'm doing it the way that she wants to do it, and so I don't know, we just do it that way. But I mean, I don't want to like make any false representations that I'm like this super skilled like trader by any stretch, and I'm sure that my timing is off on how I do some things, but I'm constantly learning and listening, and I have a lot of smart people around me that are much smarter than me, and much more experienced than me, that I ask their opinion, I ask their help, and I send videos over to them and say, hey, how could I do this better? How is my timing off? I know they're frustrated. I don't know what I did. I'm certain I did something. I can't figure out what it was. Help me make it better. Because I'm like on this constant evolution to like just make it better for them. Because, I do come from an advocacy lens when it comes to wild horses. And I would say that, I want to see my wild horses wild. And I would have rather seen Stargazer and Nora in the wild. I would rather them be wild than where they are. But because humans took that from them and they're now here, I'm going to give them the best the best life possible, and I want to do it at their pace. So it's a journey.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing that's so cool about it is that it is a journey. Like, we don't have to know it all. And it is such a process of learning and such an opportunity to learn. I think for me, I always got really caught up on like the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the coolest moments I've had with my horses have been the moments in between there and the things that I've learned and just the experiences we had and just the chance to be out there with them has always been a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I definitely have grown. I mean, I remember like the first couple days whenever he came home to my house because he went to Sam Van Fleet's place first because it was the middle of winter
Mm-hmm.
yet, and where I'm at, and so she when they were adopted or finally got out of holding, and
Mm-hmm.
when they came home, I was like, oh my gosh, I do not know what I'm doing. Like I can't. Like I was like, this is like
I felt that way before too.
feel like people should talk about that and just like work through
Yeah.
it instead of like bailing on them and going, oh my God, like
Yeah.
this horse is terrible or
Yeah.
it's like, no, just stick with it. Like you're giving them a healthy home that's safe, it's dry, it's warm. Like you will
Yeah,
figure it out
absolutely.
together. Like do not give up on them. They're not giving up on you because we don't need to reshuffle horses around. There's too many in holding and there's not
Yeah.
enough good homes. So
Yeah, and I think there is a misconception, which I've just seen a lot lately, that like a horse is going to be better somewhere else. But you don't know where they're going to end up or what their situation's going to be. So really, I mean, I agree. If there's any way at all that you can keep the horse that you took in, like you might not be enough right now. Like you might not know enough, but you can.
yeah,
You can definitely grow.
I agree. I've never sold a horse in my entire life. They come to me and they die with me. Like they will never I will never
Mhm.
sell them. I'll never get rid of them. I have if I fall off this face of the earth, like everyone in my life knows like there is a plan for what happens with these horses like because I take this is a commitment to me. And so
Yeah.
I really don't understand when, yeah, I recognize life situations do come up and, there are
Right.
circumstances, but I mean, for me, from how I approach it, this doesn't mean it works for everyone, but I make that commitment to them. And I think I'm getting back what I put into it. They're committed to me.
Yeah. And I think a big part of that is that just in our culture, the way we work, like we want things quickly and we see the way things are for other people, Instagram showing these great stories or whatever, and you're not seeing all the behind the scenes. So I think a lot of times, and not even just horses, with dogs, I have a little foster border collie at my house right now because it was too much energy, and that's just the reality. But instead of kind of like thinking, what do we need to do to prepare to make a successful experience for these animals that we have made dependent on us and that we now have responsibility for, we kind of just jump on it, go by our emotions, and then when it gets hard, which it inevitably will, like it will get hard unless you just get an old, perfectly trained animal, which I don't know if they exist, but there's always going to be something, and so it really is, like you say, it's about that commitment and what we're willing to like. And I think that decision should be made before we bring an animal in. Like, what am I willing to give, and am I going to be committed even when it's hard? And I mean, I definitely had the same thing with my mare where I just thought, like, I don't know enough. Like, she'd probably be better off somewhere else. And that was really just like my self doubt speaking. Like, it had nothing to do with her. It was just something I needed to get past, which turns out was like really valuable for me as well to realize, like, yeah, I need to learn more. Like, I don't know enough. And that's okay. Like, we can work on it together. And of course, they're so forgiving and they'll stick with you if you stick with them.
I 100% agree with you. And I know that, there's other folks that have had horses out of other Mustangs, and they look at others and think, oh, I'm not as far along as them, or I should be further
Hmm.
here, or
Yeah.
I can only do this yet. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. Like, they're safe, they're happy. Like, work on it together, figure out a way to move it forward, but don't give up on them because that person who wants that horse that's just already perfect, I think they forget that someone put a lot of time into that horse to get that. Like,
Yeah.
no horse just comes like that.
And you miss out on a lot of growth too. Like, I have learned so much because my mare was not just go along with
Yeah.
the flow. Like, it was really a process to where we had to figure it out together, and I had to learn new skills and try new things and take advice from people and see what worked. And, I think a lot of people also get really focused on one training method, and it's okay to draw from a wide variety and to use different things from different horses and to just see what is working for you guys and kind of go with that.
No, I agree. I mean, even with Ruben, I've had him over 10 years and it's been a roller coaster. I mean, there was a few years when we were trying to figure out that he had Lyme disease. And I don't know if you've ever had a horse with Lyme, but I mean, it's it's random behavior. It's lameness one day, crankiness another day. Don't touch me this day. My stomach hurt. Like it's just this wide like roller coaster. And so it looks like to the outside as bad behavior, but it wasn't. Like he didn't feel like, and it took me a couple years, and I'll never forget like someone had said, "Would you get rid of him?" I'm like, no. Like, because the next person is not going to be as patient with this horse. And clearly, whatever happened in his previous 10 years, someone did not listen to him based upon how he's acting. Because I've never once hit him. I've never once, like, threatened him in any capacity. And he still, to this day, I mean, I say the last few years has gotten a little bit better. He still thinks that I'm going to hit him in the face. Like, he's headshot.
He flinches.
And I've never hit him. And so what happened to this poor guy, like, that took this long to unwind? So I'm not giving up on that guy. Ruben is, and he's learned, I learned to, honestly, once I started doing more R positive methods with him, and I started doing like target training and just approaching things that way with him, he opened up to a different horse. I don't even know. He is a 180 difference from where he was to where he is now. Because I finally am listening to him. And I was part of the problem. Like, I thought I was listening, but I wasn't. Like, for example, that horse does not like touched in the face. He just doesn't. He's not interested. He doesn't want it. He just does not, do not touch him in his face. But every person they meet him wants to touch him in his face. And so this poor horse is just being ignored over and over and over again. And so, I don't know. But my point is, you can learn at any point, because he's 20 and I'm teaching him new things.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's interesting just with touching horses, because everybody does want to touch the horse.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to even to pay attention to like when I went to touch my horse, how they reacted. And it's funny because sometimes, they're totally into it and they love it. And other times they're like going back. I'm like, oh, okay, I went in too fast, which makes sense. I'm like, if someone just came up to you, you'd probably, what are you doing? So I love that piece, to listen to the horse and to be ready to learn from them, because that's the cool thing when you decide not to get rid of them, is you're also choosing a lot of self-growth and development if you're going to stick with them and find what works.
I agree with you 100%. I've learned so much, and I truly believe everything happens for a reason, and Ruben was in my life to help prepare me for Stargazer and Nora, and just to start to be a better listener. And I think that's why I have the relationship I do with my Mustangs. A question we get a lot is, are you going to ride Stargazer? No, never. I'll never ride him. Number one, he's injured. His knee is the size of a cane.
Yeah, I was wondering, you could kind of see in some of his videos that he's got
it's a giant
limp, and that's a permanent
thing. His shoulder, we had some x-rays done. He had some bone spurs. We didn't x-ray up far enough into his shoulder, but it's I don't know. I suspect that it was dislocated or something, and it grew back. I mean, it is
one of his mini fights.
It does not look right. He does not like to stand on that leg at all, and so he just is not interested. And to me, like, I mean, it's because he symbolizes just so much to me of like wild horses. Like it would be irreverent almost to ride him. Like his spirit, like I just can't take that from him. I just feel like so much has already been taken from him, and I want him to keep that piece of his wildness still.
Yeah. And it's a good also example of just like horses can be good for things other than just riding. They have a lot of benefit that they can still give us, just being in their presence and being able to learn from them.
Yeah. He still likes to interact. It doesn't mean he like gets to just, hang out in the pasture all day. Like he definitely has stuff he has to learn how to do. and he loves it. He's a showman. He loves it. He's an artist, so he's painting now. So
Oh yeah.
mhm.
Oh, fun.
So
Do you have those on your website?
we're not quite at the. I will once we're there,
Okay,
but
you're working on
we're
it. He's in
he's
training.
in training. He's an artist in training. He's pretty funny. So we'll see where this goes. But I do funny. Actually, Ruben likes it just as much. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to like.
You have a little horse painting session out
Yeah,
there.
but
How fun.
I, so we'll see where that goes. But yeah, so I want to keep his mind engaged. He doesn't want to not do stuff. Like he just likes to do
Yeah.
things that he's really cool. If it's a tricks, things like that, he's really into. He's definitely not into like moving faster than a truck. Just the other day, I was out in the pasture, and I don't know, still. I just go and watch them like milling around, and Stargazer was in one corner of the pasture. We have a lot of property for them to kind of be on, but he like went out of his way and like took a long walk like all the way over to see me, and I thought that just made my heart like melt, like
Yeah,
that,
that is neat.
especially knowing how much he likes to eat, that he was like, I'm gonna give up this awesome grass to come talk to me
Yeah.
today.
I think it is always really neat to see like horses actually like us.
Yeah.
And I'm sometimes like, I don't know why, but it is really cool that they do like the interaction a lot. So you talked a little bit about them kind of teaching you more about communication. Are there other lessons that you've kind of learned from them and used in your life now that
Yeah.
they taught you?
Patience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned. I think to also be in the moment. I get really up in my head, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about. I'm a planner. I'm always planning.
Yeah.
It's very organized.
They solved you of that, huh?
Yeah, and
Like, you're not planning that.
yeah,
We got some say here.
yeah, and so I mean, they can read me a mile away, and and when I've had bad sessions, I'm like, well, I walked in with like all this weird energy. Of course, I'm going to have like a bad sessions.
Yeah.
So I really tried to be more in tune with myself. I do a lot of meditating with them, breathing in.
Nice.
I realize that I don't breathe sometimes. Like I'm just holding it all in.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I need to just like, so when Nora specifically is like a little bit up, sometimes she just doesn't want to stand there. And she's like, no, I want to do this. And I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to do what you're doing. So we just like breathe together. And so that's something that is good for me, obviously, but it's good for her too. So it's just like,
Yeah.
how can we take a moment? I think one of the other things that I've learned is to just, I still fall victim of, oh, I should have been here. I should be doing all these things, or
Yeah.
compare myself to, like I'll use Sam for example. Sam would be all, she'd be doing all this already with them, and it's like, well,
Right.
she's been doing this her whole life. She rides
Mm-hmm.
16 horses a day. She's a professional. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, what did you accomplish today? Focus on you. And so I've always kept a journal, like a horse journal,
Oh,
about
yeah.
what I do every day with them. And so I write down still, like after every session, like how were their moods? What was my mood? What did we accomplish? What didn't we accomplish? And I reflect upon that, because days that I feel like I have done nothing with them, and I have a lot of self-doubt, I look
Mm-hmm.
back and go, well, remember that day when you first got them and they have never seen blacktop? Like, because I have blacktop in my driveway, and
Mm-hmm.
it had rained and someone had spilled oil. And so there was like a rainbow sheen on the blacktop, and they
Mm-hmm.
would not walk over it. They were like, what is that? And I thought,
Yeah.
what do you mean you're not going to walk over that? Like, and it was just a little patch, but to them, they had never seen that. Why would they have seen
Yeah.
that in the wild,
Totally
right?
new.
And so I look back and think, I overcame that. I overcame the sound of garage door open, like the garage door opener, or that big giant plastic bag that's at the end of the driveway, aka garbage
Mm-hmm.
pickup day. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a Stargazer would freak out when he would see it, but
Yeah.
so I try to appreciate and reflect when I'm having moments of self-doubt. And I do have self-doubt, but when I can focus on facts and things that are real, like things that I've accomplished, it kind of gets me out of my head. So that's something that
Yeah.
they I don't know if they've taught me that, but they've reinforced that good behavior.
Yeah. And it's so important to recognize those little steps, because it seems like not a big deal or you didn't get much done or whatever. But when you add all those up, it's a lot.
Yeah.
that happens down the line. If you're taking one little tiny step every single day, yeah, maybe you're not doing a 30-day Mustang like some professional trainers, but it's a really cool process still, and to see where you end up just by being consistent
Mhm.
and making project progress, no matter how small it is. So I love that.
Yeah, and I don't want to underestimate the small stuff. Like something as simple as sitting in Nora's stall when she's eating. Like she was really uncomfortable with that. She was more because she's such a people pleaser. She's like, "What do you want me to do? Why are you in here? What's happening?" And she would
Mm-hmm.
just stand there and she wouldn't relax enough to eat. And so it was something that like so I would kind of ignore her and I would just sit in the corner and I'd feed her a little bit and she'd be like, okay, so what do you want me to do? And we would just get to
Yeah.
know each other. So like there's a lot of beauty in the small, quiet spaces, and that's learning too.
Yeah, it is such a learning process, just those small moments and learning how to have a relationship with each other.
Yeah. And I think it's paid off because, she's sees me, she comes running.
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, she knows now. Yeah.
Yeah, like she's like, oh, that's my girl. And she's so, I feel like if we were, I don't know, if she were a person, she'd be like high five and be like, hey girl. I don't know. That's how she like comes at me.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is my buddy.
And so do you feel like the things that you've learned in your training experience, have those transferred into the human world and made changes in your life?
I think so. I mean, I really try to, I have a lot of friends and people that I know and love, and I try to take time with the relationships that matter and spend time in the quiet spaces with them and be there for them.
Yeah.
And like, rain or shine. And I think that folks that like I'm friends with would say, that I'm always there. Like I'm there, and if I'm wrong, I do say I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I try not to judge where you're at that day. And I'm not perfect, and I don't expect you to be perfect. I just expect us to keep communicating. And so that's what I keep going back to, is that
Yeah.
I can't not communicate, like, because not communicating is actually communicating. and
Right. Yeah.
and so I have to remember that with the horses. I have to stay in the moment, be present, and appreciate what's happening. And I try to do that in my life too. And my husband is my best friend in the whole wide world, and he's my ride or die forever.
Yeah. He definitely played a little role in this whole adventure that you're on now.
He did. I mean, he so I just think this is so special. Like, of course, we had no idea how the auction would go, and he was on one of his work trips, and he had gotten me something as a gift, but he presented me with this after the auction was over. He had a gift for me, and it was a nice, like, it was a blanket. It was just like this really nice blanket that had horses on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more the thought than anything, but he knew that this moment was important, so that whether we needed to celebrate the fact that we were now going to be able to keep Stargazer and Nora together, or it was going to
Yeah.
be the most devastating moment of, my, not most devastating, but most devastating in recent times moment of my life. So he
Yeah.
like wanted to make sure that he had something like just extra, like, and who does
Yeah.
that? Like, and so I'm just so grateful for him and just being willing to listen and try. And he doesn't, the fact that he, when his friends come up to see him, he's so funny. It's like, let me show you my Mustang. And he gets
I
Stargazer
love that.
out and does tricks with them. And then, like,
That's so fun.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that would happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. So that's, I'm glad we can share that. I mean, he doesn't ride. They're still my horses, but he comes to help
Yeah.
with barn work. And he's like, oh man, you get up every morning and do the barn work. Let me go do it for you. I want to go down and see him. Like,
Nice.
that is,
Yeah.
that is a gift. I'm
Yeah,
lucky.
that's cool.
Mhm.
That's really neat
Yeah.
to have that support for sure.
Yeah.
Where can people learn more about Stargazer and Nora and see pictures and videos and all those things?
Well, yeah, no, thanks for asking. So they're on Instagram, so they have their own Instagram account, and they're on Facebook. In their bio on their account, they do have a link tree that kind of goes to their website. So there's, the Dodo has done a story on them. There's a couple news agencies that did some articles on them that I've linked. I have links in there to Sam Van Fleet's training videos too, of when she's used them for like how to demonstrate leading a horse for a first time, or
Yeah.
leading with feet,
Nice.
for example. So I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I bought I wanted shirts made that had them on it, so I made like t-shirts that more I
Yeah.
wanted them. But if you're so inclined, you could get some Stargazer and Nora merchandise. And
Cool.
yeah, and sometimes folks ask like, hey, I want to like give them treats and stuff like that. So they have like a little wish list. I want their story out there because I think that it demonstrates just from start to finish, like what happens when horses are wild, what it looks like through the whole process, and then what
Yeah.
can happen once they're in the domestic world.
Yeah.
And that I don't want to say just anyone can do it, but if you want to do it, you can. And so
Yeah, I do. I think anybody who wants to, yeah, but you definitely have to have some desire and willingness to be open and learn. Yeah.
100%, I absolutely agree. So I think their story is unique. And I will say, I mean, unabashedly, that I do have a goal. I would love to have Briar pick them up as horses.
Mm,
I think Stargazer and
that
Nora's
would be
little,
so neat.
wouldn't it be so cute? So
Yes, that would be really
yeah,
cool.
so
That's your goal.
that's my goal for them.
That's what we're working for.
Yeah, I put it out in
Then
the
everyone can have
yes,
one.
that's all. I mean,
That's fun.
I will make a little Stargazer and Nora like myself, I guess. But I would love for them to have their story out there, because it is cool. Like they're Stargazer was in the wild for 10 years, and so he's been photographed quite a bit. So there's a lot of photographers that have images of him. They've used him for their art paintings. He's on book covers. He is on a blanket that one of his followers found at Tractor Supply.
That's so fun.
They texted me and said, "Is this Stargazer?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, that actually, yes, that is Stargazer on that blanket in
That's
Tractor
awesome.
Supply." So I tracked it down, and I found the artist, who's amazing. She's so wonderful, wonderful. Val Warner was her name. That made a painting from the image that this woman named Kathy Port had
Oh,
taken.
neat.
So I have found all of the people that were involved in getting to this Tractor Supply blanket. And I will say, Tractor
Nice.
Supply, if you're listening, I would love for that to be back out on the shelves, but it is not. So
Oh,
please
yeah.
make more of
Yeah.
them. But
Yeah.
and then they're in a movie, so I don't, which is kind of cool. So I don't
Yeah.
know, so they're out there, but.
Yeah, that is neat. And it's always fun. I always love to go see like the pictures after I've heard about things. So I think that's awesome that they have so many opportunities for you to kind of see their story.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. I want more wild horses to stay wild, and so I hope that their story can do that.
Yeah.
And if they're not wild, hopefully maybe they can be inspired that if you adopt a Mustang, to just, if it's getting tough, just give it a day, see what it looks like tomorrow, and try again. Come at it with fresh eyes, and just
Yeah.
reach out, like ask for some resources, for some help. I mean, I do it all the time. I still do it, and
Yeah.
the learning
There's
never
always
stops.
more to learn, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
Yeah, I love that. And that's probably, I'm guessing, your answer to my question. If I were to ask what you should do if you're struggling with your horse or
Yeah,
life, stick with it.
just stick with it and reach out. Like, I mean, reach out to me on Instagram, like, or email us. I mean, I might not have an answer for you, but I definitely can put you in contact with someone who's smarter than me that can maybe give you some
Yeah.
guidance. But I try to surround myself with people that are much more experienced and knowledgeable, and I am honest. I don't always know what I'm doing, and
Well, and I love that because I think that's the place where you learn. A lot of times, if we think we know exactly what should happen and how it should go and what we're doing, that's where we're kind of shut down. So to be able to be open like that, I just love. I think more people need to hear that. Like, it's okay that you don't know exactly what to do in this moment. Like, you can figure it out if you stick with it and if you kind of follow, which something you really alluded to is kind of listening to what felt right to you.
Mhm.
I think if you listen to that, you'll be able to find the people you need to guide you and the tactics that will work for you to be able to do things in a way that you can feel good about.
And good people come into your life when you need them if you're open to it. So
Yeah. And everyone I've met that owns a Mustang, they are more than willing to talk and answer questions and give advice or share resources they've used. That's what I do a lot of the time. I'm like, this is what I used.
yeah,
So yeah,
I mean,
lots of opportunities to learn.
100% agree. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk about them and hopefully just reach, maybe someone that didn't know or just wanted a feel good story or just maybe needed to hear the honesty of like,
Yeah.
it's hard sometimes, and I just keep trying.
Yeah, I love it. And I also love that you've kind of been able to be on both sides of the lives of the Mustangs. I think anyone who has a Mustang, I know I'll look at mine sometimes and I can just so clearly see what they looked like out in the wild. I don't have the photos and things, but I think we are all kind of drawn to that freedom that they have. And there's so many people out there who really want the best for them. And that's going to look different just because of policies and procedures in place. But I think the end result can still be beautiful if it's something that you want to work for. And so the more Mustangs we can give happy endings to and have them end up in a good place, whether that's in the wild or in a home, that's definitely something that, I am definitely an advocate for.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think that's so well said.
Thank you so much for being here. I loved hearing about their story, and I'm excited to share it and to share the things that you've learned with everybody.
No problem at all. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us and learning about horses that heal and the humans who help them. We hope you'll continue with us on this journey. We'd love for you to subscribe on your favorite platform and follow The Touch of a Mustang on any of the major social media outlets. Please share with your friends, anyone who loves horses, or anyone who might be struggling and could benefit from this message. If you have felt the healing power of horses or help them in their divinely appointed mission, please reach out. We want to hear your story. As we say goodbye, always remember that the horse is always there to help you heal.